Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk about my research on male paternity leave in China, current uptake, challenges, and policy reforms. I became interested in this topic because of something I often see around me. After graduation, many of my female friends face uncomfortable questions in job interviews. HR managers ask them whether they have a boyfriend, if they plan to get married, or when they will have children. But no one ever asks men the same questions. In China, this is very common. Many companies worry that women will take long maternity leave, so they prefer to hire men. I start to think, if men also take paternity leave and share family responsibilities, could it help reduce this kind of discrimination? Around the world, 123 countries offer paid paternity leave. But policy doesn't always mean real use. For example, the uptake rate is about 90% in Iceland, but it is below 3% in Japan. In China, the rate is also very low, and that is where my research begins. My research question is, why is uptake of paternity leave among Chinese men so low? What barriers hinder improvement? And how can policies and culture increase uptake? My research is important because it's focused on how social norms and workplace culture influence men's uptake of paternity leave. In China, many enterprises are concerned that women will take long-term leaves due to childbirth. This often causes implicit discrimination against women in recruitment, and is also one of the reasons for the decline in women's fertility intentions. Encouraging men to take leave promotes shared family responsibilities, advances gender equality, and improves women's status. It also supports female labor participation by reducing workplace discrimination. Moreover, wider use of paternity leave increases fertility intentions and helps address population aging. Finally, developing paternity leave policies can create fairer recruitment practices and a more equitable workplace environment. Many studies on paternity leave focus on legal frameworks and policy design, such as how long the leave is, wage replacement, and who is eligible. Researchers also look at factors that influence men's decisions to take paternity leave. These include workplace culture, social gender norms, and financial incentives. Another important part of literature studies father involvement and family outcomes. It shows how paternity leave can support child development and change the division of labor within families. Some studies make cross-national comparisons. They find that the effectiveness of paternity leave policies is very different across countries and depends a lot on cultural and social contexts. Finally, research on China shows that paternity leave policies are still uneven and the uptake rate is very low. Workplace pressure and strong gender norms continue to discourage men from taking leave. To understand this issue more deeply, I first look at what existing research say about paternity leave. I selected 23 studies for my literature review. Most of them were published after 2022, so they are very recent and up to date. I chose these studies because they are closely related to my topic and help me understand the current research. My literature review focuses on three main areas. First, China's current policy landscape. China doesn't have a national paternity leave law. Instead, many provinces make their own local policy based on regional conditions. For example, some provinces give 7 days of leave, while others offer more than 20 days. Second, reasons for China's low uptake. The low use of paternity leave is linked to cultural norms, workplace pressure, and company policies. Many men feel they should focus on work, and the companies do not always encourage them to take leave. Finally, international lessons. In many other countries, like Iceland and Sweden, paternity leave is used by most fathers. These countries have strong policies, financial support, and positive social attitudes. China can learn from these examples to improve its own policies. The literature shows three main findings. First, policy design is very important. Studies show that when fathers receive higher pay during leave and when the leave is non-transferable, they are much more likely to take it. Second, cultural barriers remain strong. Traditional gender norms and workplace expectations still see childcare as a woman's responsibility. Because of this, many men feel pressure not to take paternity leave, especially in China. Finally, the workplace environment also matters. Support from managers and a positive organizational culture directly influence men's willingness to take leave. When workplaces are more supportive, men feel more confident to use their paternity leave. After choosing this topic, I read many articles. I found that most research talks about laws and policy design, like leave days and salary support. But I also learned that having a good policy does not always mean people will use it. So my study want to go deeper. I want to understand why there is a big gap between the policy and the real use. I also want to explore what changes could help more men take paternity leave. To understand the reasons behind low paternity leave use, it's important to look at the problem from a theoretical perspective. The first theory I use is gender as a social structure. This theory says that gender is not just about personal identity. It's part of a larger social system, built into norms, institutions, and policies. This theory is very useful for my research. It helps explain how social expectations and workplace culture shape men's decision about taking paternity leave. In China, people often believe that men should focus on work and women should care for children. Because of this belief, many men feel pressure not to take leave. For example, some companies think men who take paternity leave are not serious about their jobs. This can make men worry about their career if they take time off, even when the law allows it. However, many studies stop at talking about gender norms. They don't explore how institutions and workplace policy make this pattern stronger. Future research should combine gender theory with other approaches, such as policy implementation or organizational behavior, to give us a more complete understanding of why men do or do not take leave. The second theory related to my research is hegemonic masculinity. This theory means that society has a strong stereotype of what a real man should be, someone who is successful in his career, strong, and the man earner. It also says that men should not be caregivers. This theory helps explain my research. It shows why many men are afraid to take paternity leave. They worry that if they take leave, people will think they are weak or not serious about their career. For example, in some companies, managers believe that a good male employee should always put work first. If a man takes time off for family, he might be seen as less committed and could miss out on promotion opportunities. However, many studies only talk about cultural pressure. They do not connect it with economic incentives or policy design, which also influence men's choices. Future research should combine this theory with rational choice or policy design approaches. This would help us better understand how men make decisions based on both cultural expectation and economic causes. In conclusion, paternity leave is more than a policy. It's a window into how gender norms, workplace culture, and social expectations shape behavior. By encouraging men to share family responsibilities, we can reduce discrimination, support women's employment, and even address population challenges. I hope my research can contribute to a deeper understanding of this issue and inspire more effective policies in the future. Thank you.